Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Saturday night coverage of the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series. It's the Season 6 playoffs as we hit the halfway marker. This is race 3 of 5 for the playoffs, as the drivers are now going to be entering the Iowa Speedway for the Iowa Shenanigans 150 here tonight on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me later on going to be Robert Moyer Jr., who also will be running double duty as Trevor Earhart had some prior obligations and was not able to show up with us here this evening. We hope to have Trevor back next week, but tonight, in an important race, it is the halfway marker of this chase format of the playoffs, where the drivers are given 5 races to see who can maximize and have the most points after these 5 races. Now, they were given different ranges on how they started. Some with way less points than what this regular season champ Zach Hall started out with. But after 2 races, Larry Yingling has won those past 2 races to get himself topping the board. But it's not a big margin that he's leading in the points. He's leading by just 1 point over Zach Hall, 5 points over Brandon Colley, and 6 points over Brian P. Johnson and Tom Senchek. Our top 5 all within 6 points, meaning all those drivers still have a great shot of winning the Season 6 championship. And then behind them, there's quite a large drop-off of 17 points between Cedric Hunter and Christopher Norris. Now, the drivers underway with qualifying, and you're seeing where they're ticking at this moment. The drivers in red are playoff contenders that we're watching out for. Now, joining us up at the booth, it's going to be that of Robert Moyer Jr. Robert, I know you've been watching from behind the scenes for this season, but this playoff certainly has gotten a lot closer.
Oh, most definitely, Sam. It did. Yeah, I mean, closer to the point we didn't think it would get this close, like you said, with the points, the way they have the point system set up, and with the fumbles of Zach Hall past 2 weeks, and just it's amazing how this all is, turning out, Sam. Really, it is. It turned into Zach, having a really great lead, and and now all of a sudden it's gone, and that just shows the nature of racing on how fast things can turn from one race to the next, where you have to be consistent week in and week out. And everybody has their bad races, we all know that, but you still got to finish the race no matter what position it is. You never know, you can gain some positions, and that helps you. But yeah, I mean, what the next tonight and the next 2 weeks are going to hold, I have no clue.
Yeah, and with tonight being at Iowa Speedway, the next 2 races is going to be the Atlanta 2008 configuration, where drivers are going to be slipping and sliding on hot Atlanta surface. Then the last race of the playoffs, where we'll be crowning a champion. The drivers head to Florida, to South Beach for Miami at Homestead Speedway. Cannot wait for it. But for tonight, drivers again underway with qualifying. Zach Hall going to be qualifying 9th, as he just got finished up with his times. Other drivers trying to beat out Larry Yingling. The 67 machine is going to be the heavy favorite for a lot of this evening. The last time these drivers were at this track, the only time WSSR has raced at Iowa, Larry did it in a dominant fashion, getting the pole, leading the most laps, and winning that race by leading 192 laps of 194. The only other driver to lead laps was Brandon Colley, who led the other 2. The drivers currently trying to get themselves as much practice as Justin Lewis. Those 2 laps that he put down for qualifying not going to count as he brushed the wall, but currently just trying to get as much practice in as possible is this 07, as he's got 30 seconds left in qualifying. For tonight's race, though, big shout out to our sponsors as the 07 is racing around. I want to start things off with our title sponsor, that being Roasted Gems Coffee. Roasted Gems Coffee has been the title sponsor of WSSR for the last couple of seasons. It's been an amazing company to have, and it's a great way to wake up your day with some premium quality coffee. Go head over to roastedgems.com and use the promo code WSSR for getting your 5% off on your coffee and other merch today at roastedgems.com. As well, huge shout out to Trophy Smack. Trophy Smack the last 2 seasons has been the title maker for the WSSR, and in this season, for season 6, has partnered up with the World Series of Sim Racing, as if you'd go out today, go use the promo code WSSR Cup. That's WSSR CUP. 10% off on all purchases. If you're going to get yourself a custom championship belt, championship trophy, ring, and also a wall smack, all head over to trophysmack.com. Well, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being patient with us. Practice is over. Qualifying's over. It's time for the race. So let's take a look at where the drivers are starting out here tonight. As we get the qualifying results up, qualifying results is going to be sponsored by Colley's mom. Brandon Colley's mom, always hoping for a good day by that of the one machine. Let's see where Colley qualifies this evening. Taking the pole award, he's been the most dominant driver the last 2 weeks since the playoffs started. It's the 67 of Larry Yingling. Brian P. Johnson going to be in second. Ryan Bird third. Fourth going to be Tom Senchek. Cedric Hunter in fifth. Sixth is Christopher Norris. Chad Wilkes seventh. Eighth is going to be that of Corey Ennis. Zach Hall ninth. And 10th is Thomas Walter. Martin Morales could be finishing up in 11th. 12th is Jonathan Cogswell. Aaron Krog 13th. James Vining back racing for the 33 and 14th position. Same for the 21 of Kyle Rochelle. He's back out there on track, but all the way down at 16 is where we find the one, Brandon Colley. He's got a long race to climb back up to race with some of the front runners as he is fighting and clawing for the championship. Third in points here tonight. Justin Lewis in 17th, Bob Skinner 18th. 19th is going to be that of James Kaufman and James Hackworth Jr. finishing out our 20 drivers here this evening. Robert, 20 drivers, it's good to see that number, especially with the amount of drivers that said they weren't going to be showing up here tonight. I gotta say, 20 is certainly a good night.
Yeah, 20 is a good night, especially here at Iowa for, as they're getting, down to the nitty gritty of the end of the season. Normally the numbers drop off. So seeing 20 drivers out there is a good thing. But we'll have to see how Larry all plays out, because I know you got Brian Johnson on the outside there, and we watched him during practice, Sam, and he was way down below the, and here he is, qualifies second. So we'll have to see how this all plays out, guys. We're getting ready to go green.
Yeah, that of Brian P. Johnson. He was, during practice, he was getting a lot of time, not in qualifying speed, but trying to find his race pace. So hoping for a very good run is a 28 machine, as we're going to be taking another lap for these drivers as we're at a 7/8 of a mile course. It's technically a short track here at Iowa, and it's one of the faster short tracks that these drivers will head to. A course that resembles a lot of Richmond back in the past when this track was made. This track certainly going to be having a lot of different elevations on where the drivers want to run. Is it going to be the high line, middle, or the bottom, all the way at the yellow line, as the drivers are racing here with 12 to 14 degrees of progressive banking through the corners. The back stretch has 4 degrees of banking, the front stretch 10 degrees, so they're always going to be leaning just slightly. With this race being 170 laps, no stage, no fast repairs, and 4 extra sets of tires in pit road. We weren't given a number on the fuel run for these drivers, but traditionally, when you head to Iowa or these tracks of this length, is around that of 80 to 90 laps. So we're expecting this race to be a one-stop, but will we see a lot of cautions? It's going to be a big factor to watch out for as the drivers are exiting out of 4. Now you're about to see the pace car pull off, and the drivers aiming for the restart zone as the WSSR Roast the Gems Cup Series playoff race number 3 at the Iowa Shenanigans is underway. It's going to be Larry Yingling, Ryan P. Johnson heading down into turn number 1 side by side as the 28 trying to find his markers to make the pass cleanly here as the run, but they're still side by side for the lead, and the rest of the field surviving at least the first lap as they exit out of turn number 4. The field spread out looking for the speed, but lap number 1, give it to Brian P. Johnson getting that bonus point.
There you go. Got it on the high side there, Sam. And not sure, Iowa is one of them tracks here, and I don't know how these cars handle, specifically here at Iowa, but I do know Iowa is bumpy, especially going down into 1 and 2. You really got to watch where you put your brakes on, because if you're on the brakes and all of a sudden you hit that bump, it can really upset the car, as you'll see these cars bouncing a little bit as they go through the turns. So there's certain spots where you want to try to miss going through 1 and 2. 3 and 4 seems to be a little bit better, but right now it looks like Brian Johnson is showing the way as Larry's going to fall behind him, and then we're going to have Ryan Bird, and we got Tom Simchek, and Christopher Norris, after having a stellar run on Monday night, almost winning a championship, actually, is running in 5th place there, Sam.
It was incredible to see, these drivers, some that were racing for a championship in other leagues that we cover, and for that of Christopher Norris almost was able to get the championship as he came a little bit short on trying to get that run, but here for the WSSR, certainly he's proud to be running up front. He's been really getting better at these starts for the 38 machine. He's not in one of the favorable spots if you look at the positioning for points, as Christopher Norris is tied with 6th in points, 17 points off of Larry Yingling currently. So you're going to need to see that of the 67 really fall off on gaining points, or even see the other competitors ahead of the 38 machine to gain some points, but you never know, especially Robert. I mean, it's early in this race. It's only the halfway marker of the playoffs. Anything can change up. Speaking of changing up for the lead, certainly some battling going on as Larry Yingling to the outside makes it work. The 67 taking back the point.
Yeah, it looks like right now, it looks like that high line, Sam, is where you want to be to make your passes. I know low line, I would imagine you could probably save tires down there. I would imagine that's, what we've seen all season. But yeah, high line definitely looks racy, but man, we don't want to talk about racy back here. We got the number 7 of Corey back here looking really good, but you got to give a big shout out to Chad there. It's good to see that 12 back out there in the track too.
Yeah, Chad Wilkes, he's been flirting on being up front. Fastest driver during practice was the 12 machine, as he's trying to keep the speed. And behind the 12, he certainly has a great show of Christopher Norris trying to hold off and defend the 27 of Cogswell on the outside, the 7 of Coriolis. And Coriolis and Cogswell, both drivers that have fallen outside the top 10 plenty of times at the most recent races, trying to keep themselves inside the top 10, as there's a lot of competitors right now that I'm so shocked by how far they are in deep in the field. Here's Zach Hall, 2nd in points. He's all the way back in 11th. You also have that of Justin Lewis back in 13th. Eric Krolix in 15th, Brandon Conley 16th, Cedric Hunter in 17th. This is a major drop-off on where the drivers traditionally are at a lot of these other tracks. And I gotta say, Robert, this is very odd to see, but maybe a strategy call by some of these drivers.
I was just ready to say that, Sam. That's what I was just thinking there. Maybe it's a strategy call because, the past 2 weeks we've seen, again, don't want to dwell on it, but we've seen what happened to Zach. I know he's a smart racer, and I'm sure he probably talked to his crew and everybody and said, "Look, we got to try something different here." The past 2 weeks didn't work out the way you wanted. Yeah, great car, fast car, dominant car, actually, but it didn't pan the way he wanted it to. So I do believe that, I think he's just saving, and I wouldn't be surprised that Collie back there and with Cedric Hunter are, saving on tires, fuel, maybe as, the 07 there of Lewis just scraped the wall, but that's what I think's happening right now, Sam.
07 Justin Lewis, known especially a lot last season for pushing and being aggressive, was able to start racing with WSSR once again in the end of this regular season once he realized he had a chance and more free time to race. Take a look here at the 91 machine. It's Mark Morales running his Ken Block tribute scheme. The 91 always willing to bring out some special schemes. He's ran this one a couple of times this season, and it's good to see the 91 right now performing in 12th place. And Bob Skinner in the 82. Hard contact for himself to bring out our first caution of the day.
That was pretty hard. I heard the skidding in the background in my ear there, Sam, and all of a sudden I hit the right spot. But yeah, wow. We'll go back and check this out. I don't know if it got loose or what, but we'll find out here on the replay.
First caution of the day, and it's going to be the 82 machine of Bob Skinner. You also saw there in a quick moment, driver running high. That was James Vining, who luckily missed the incident. This 82 was trying to run well up front. Bob Skinner, one of the drivers that was able to make it into the playoffs and was a little bit too far back on points-wise, more so of going for a good run. Was hoping to finish at least 10th in points was the goal for this 82. And with that hard contact that he has here tonight, this is what brings out our first caution of the evening. The 82 of Bob Skinner, not having anyone behind him, but in front of him, trying to figure out how to run around the 01 that of Aaron Krolick. And You're going to see the 82 just break a little bit loose. Robert talked about the
The
bumps
bump right
earlier.
there. Yep.
It might have felt a little bit off here. Breaks the rear end, not feeling comfortable, then tries to overcorrect. And these cars very easily will just find random grip and will snap up to the outside. Exactly what happened there to 82. And that hard contact forcing Bob Skinner to go to pit road. But it's this late driver to the outside from James Vining that could have been a lot worse for two drivers. Instead, Bob Skinner required damage. His night may not be completely done, but it's going to be a long one in pit road before he can get rolling, as a few drivers entering pit road to get some fuel topped off. James Lewis as well. Justin Lewis, excuse me, and James Hackworth Jr. coming in to top off on fuel, as James Vining actually had some damage from previous incidences that he's getting covered up. But Robert, certainly a scare there that Bob Skinner had.
Yeah, it's scare, but I said it at the beginning there, Sam, and you could see the car dip right at that bump, and he was under braking. It's gonna upset the car. You gotta brake before you hit that bump, or wait till after you hit the bump to hit the brakes. Well, you don't want to wait after the bump, because then you're too far into the turn, and you try to turn, and if you're behind somebody, you got dirty air, it's gonna make you go to the wall. And then you're going to just scrape and you're going to burn up that right front tire, which you don't want to do, here. So, yeah, unfortunately, Bob got at the wrong place at the wrong time and ended up spinning it around. But, yeah, wow. Well, first yellow of the night so far, Sam.
First yellow, as this is going to cause us to go into a restart here. And first yellow came out around lap 13. Some drivers were willing to get aggressive on their tire and fuel saving, others trying to move forward. And interested to see how Larry Yingling and Brian P. Johnson are going to react here. Again, on that first restart, it was Brian that was able to make the aggressive move and move up to the outside to make the initial pass, lead the first 7 laps before Larry Yingling took that position back for himself. There is an interesting thing going on course. Cedric Hunter has decided to just pull off on the track in the entry of turn 3. 13 has not moved for himself, so curious if he's having issues. But there's a 13 live, hasn't been able to move, and curious if maybe there's something going on with him currently.
Bluetooth? Not Bluetooth. He has VR, right?
I believe he is running VR, as now he'll be moving now. I know also he's got some life situations that maybe have caused him to just take a quick break, but Cedric is now moving, so yeah. Luckily he's moving now. I know he's had a couple of scares. I remember it was a couple of months back where he had the most bizarre moment of his dog accidentally coming over and knocking over his mouse on his computer that forced him to disconnect from iRacing, but instead finally gets to pit road, and we're back to green flag racing, as Larry Yingling going to be pulling away from Brian B. Johnson. Then behind him is going to be the two drivers from Lead Apex Racing of Ryan Bird, as well as Tom Senchek. Senchek trying to hold off that of Jonathan Cogswell, who's our biggest mover of all these drivers here tonight, up 7 positions for the 27. For the lead, once again, it's a battle of Ryan working the outside lane, as we're seeing the drivers right on top of one another, battling back from that 4th place.
Yeah, we got battling up here for the lead. Like you said, you got Brian Johnson on the high side, going to try to get past Larry here, and it looks like he might be able to clear him. Nope, Larry's going to drive it down a little deeper in the 3 and 4 here and try to hold him off, but I do believe that top line should propel eventually as this run goes on here. You're going to see Brian Johnson going to be able to carry about 3-4 miles per hour faster than him, or he's just going to make a liar out of me.
Well, he was carrying the speed. The issue is the fact that Larry Yingling was having a better, shorter run around the course, so able to keep it close. But Brian finally confirming the pass off of turn 2. And we fall back to 9th position, where we see this battling Thomas Walter, Mark Morales, Zach Hall, and Eric Kralik trying to make their way forward. And surprisingly, saw there in the back of the picture, the 7 of Corey Ennis now back here deeper in the field. He had a scare just a couple of laps ago, got loose out of the exit of turn 4, lost a few positions, and the 7 trying to rebound now. He tried the 3rd lane. Drivers can get very loose. Mark Morales testing his skills up in that 3rd groove. A huge run by the 91 as now he ducks it down low on Thomas Walter.
I'll tell you what, though, Sam, just sitting back watching these first 22 laps, these guys seem very racy here tonight. I don't know if you've seen that. I just see a little bit I don't want to call it aggressive racing, but they're more racy here tonight. Now, I don't know if it's the track, the car, or the car and track are working together, but we're seeing some good battling all the way through the field. You got Zach Hall getting ready to go past that 91, or at least try to. You got Corey back here with Aaron Kralik and Thomas Walter. They're trying to battle. Oh, as he's going to get loose, and oh my God, he hangs on to it.
And that's another factor that's kind of allowing these drivers to be as racy as they are. This car seems to be very much unstable at moments in the center of the corner. That's causing drivers to back off their pace. And for some, they're gassing it up, trying to keep the weight of the machine. Because if you let off immediately on your gas pedal, you will be losing a little bit of momentum, a shift in the weight. You lose the balance, break loose, maybe get plowing tight in the center of the corner. So drivers are constantly trying to find the balance of making these cars run as smoothly as they can, and it's kind of allowing drivers to mix and match which lane is going to be the faster one to move forward, and it's giving us this great coverage as here comes Kyle Rochelle as Jonathan Coxwell breaking loose, now coming back down in front of drivers. Everyone avoids them somehow, and we stay green.
How in the world? Okay, bravos. That's all I can say, Sam, is bravos to the whole. Wow. No one hit him. That is amazing.
No one hits him, and other drivers now starting to show some looseness. James Vining on the front stretch, almost causing a wreck for the 33.
We got two
and there's Corey Ennis. His tires are warm, dusted, and oh no! It's gonna be Vining, breaks loose, climbs up, and destroys James Kaufman.
Wow. Okay, I would take it that they're dealing with a loose vehicle.
I would say loose and heat buildup is a lot here tonight.
Wow.
When you see someone break loose, it just gets worse and worse, and that is two drivers that are going to send it to pit road. James Vining, James Kaufman, both going to have to see their pit road for a quick second here, as that is going to be our second caution of the day.
That was crazy how you see that. So, well, it looks like with the heat, with this setup here, Sam, what would you do? You're out there, you're burning off them right rear tires, and it's getting loose. And like you said, once it gets snappy, you see what just happened there, unfortunately, to him. But we did get word from down on pit road there, Sam, that Cedric Hunter said don't buy a VR. Or he recommends don't buy a VR. So it was a VR system problem again that he had, and that's what put him down pit road.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of drivers they love the VR system. It allows you to have that better depth of field and able to look around and have a lot more control, it feels like, when you're in a vehicle racing with VR, but it has been very hit or miss in these last almost year of VR systems just randomly crashing in the middle of races. And that's not the first time that's happened to Cedric Hunter, and we've also seen it happen to plenty of other drivers that have switched to 3 monitor setups, some just going to a single monitor, and that is a bizarre moment to have for these drivers. But Cedric Hunter, his hopes for a championship, this is most likely completely snuffing it out. He was on the back end as he was tied in 6th position in points with Christopher Norris, 17 points out. And him not advancing in any way here tonight, that's looking like it is done, Robert, which you hate to see it for Cedric Hunter, who has had very strong runs this season. Yeah,
unfortunately, the tide's turned, and it's just not happening right now for him in that Roasted Gens 13 vehicle. You have them races. We said it at the beginning. You have good ones and you have bad ones, and right now he is in a slump. But Cedric Hunter is one of them drivers that will get out of it. Eventually he'll get out of it, he'll figure it out, and he'll be up there battling again. Like you said, we have 2 more races after this race here tonight at Iowa. We go to Atlanta, the 08 configure. Look out there, they're going to be slipping and sliding. As we all know, we call it the hot Atlanta. Well, it's going to be hot next week. So drivers are going to be really battling that track. Especially with these cars, the way these cars handle. And then we go to Homestead, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we know how Cedric Hunter is at Homestead, Sam. Very good. He knows how to save tires, and he knows, so you might not see him up there battling for the lead right away, but he'll be up there.
He certainly should be. Every time I go to Homestead, he's one of the major favorites to win at that course. It just matches his driving style so well. as we've seen Cedric Hunter perform a lot of these courses, as we've now lost our third racer of the evening. Bob Skinner officially has called it a night. Cedric Hunter may be coming back into the session to race, or he will just be an observer from his point of view. And James Vining has officially called it a night, as the 25 James Kaufman has gotten his required damage repaired, but there's a lot of optional, so the 25 is staying in pit road to get all those damages repaired for himself. We did have a few drivers deciding to come into pit road and take tires. Those to watch out for are going to be 13th position of Justin Lewis, as well as Mark Morales, Corey Ennis, and Jonathan Cogswell. Going to be the 4 drivers to watch out for on this next restart, because they're going to have fresh rubber. And based off what I was looking at the numbers of what our leaders were running compared to their fastest laps, we could be seeing some of these backmark drivers that just took tires climbing through the field quickly, being about a half a second faster than the rest of the field, just based off of tire wear.
Oh yeah, that's half a second on somebody. That's fast. And you can also add in your James Hackworth Jr. Looks like he went down and got just fuel only though, Sam. So I guess I'm wrong, because the new tires you were saying. So yeah, 4 out of 5 got pitted. So I correct myself.
It's all good. As we're here tonight, thank you so much, everybody, for joining with us on your Saturday evening, watching the WSSR Roast Gems Cup Series. This is the Season 6 playoffs, race number 3 of 5, as it is the Iowa Shenanigans 150. Certainly have already seen some shenanigans with drivers struggling with the handling in just here the first 30 laps. We still got plenty of more racing coverage to give you throughout the night, as we are back to Green Flag Racing here in Iowa. And Larry Yingling trying to take the lead, and Brian Johnson, he goes right back to that outside lane, trying to take the lead back.
He's going to try, but Larry got a great jump there, and we're going to see Ryan Bird. He's trying to, man, a guy's been for 32 laps now, has been stuck in 3rd position, trying to figure out how to get around this 28. And it just doesn't seem like he's got the momentum yet, as we got Chad. I'm telling you, keep an eye on that number 12 vehicle there, Sam. I think he's got something for these front runners.
And he looked at practice, certainly was quick. All the races that Chad Wilkes has shown up for, he's been a top 5 contender, and would be excited to see what the 12 can bring out, or is he just going to be playing the strategy game to get himself in the hunt? But behind them, it's good to be seeing Zach Hall, who was all the way back at one moment in 14th position. Well, he's side by side with Tom Sinjak. It's the 42 trying to get mixy with our top 5 after getting by this 8 machine. And behind them, the 21 of Kyle Rochelle. He looks quick for the 21 as he's up 8 positions.
Yeah, he's up 8 positions, but you just see what Christopher Norris did to him going down there in 1 and 2. He literally pushed him into the turn.
Yeah, these drivers being aggressive. Also, another driver got a little bit loose. That's Thomas Walter in 14. Watch out for the 07 as Christopher Norris forcing it 3 wide. And the 07, reason why to watch out for him, he's got the freshest rubber of drivers that just took 4 tires. As will Lewis send it all the way to that 3rd lane? He will. And look at the speed difference. Even when he takes the longest way around, Lewis taking the positions and is gone.
Gone? Well, that tells you a difference in tire wear. Holy mackerel. Whoa, Kyle Rochelle almost got into the 0. Who was that?
That was the 7.
Wow.
That's going to be Corey Ennis, who's also on fresh rubber, trying to make his way forward. And Corey Ennis not really going the pleasant way around. He's going right through some drivers with some of these moves. The 7 we saw break very loose. He's willing to get aggressive right now, which is kind of a shocking thing to see. You would have thought the drivers that were getting extremely loose because of how much heat they were putting in their tires maybe would back off on this set and try to find some better balance. But hey, we're going to get a quick caution. We're going to reset this thing around, as it's the 23 of James Hackworth Jr. that allows us to take a breather for a hot second.
Oh, it looks like I don't have anything on him. What'd he do? Self spin?
Looks like it was just a simple self spin by the 23. So. And no one else involved, no damage for the 23 machine. So our 3rd caution comes out on lap 38. And again, Hackworth Jr. just took fuel, so that could have been a little bit of a balance shift that he was dealing with. But Larry Yingling still leading the way for the 67. And Robert, 3 cautions in, very quick. Why not we take a quick break ourselves, as it's been an interesting start of the race. It is still Larry Yingling leading the way. Chad Wilkes going to be in second after game by Brian P. Johnson. And drivers into pit road. So when they come out of pit road, we'll give you more information on what the pit stops were like. We'll be back right after this for more WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series action.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down in the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Wanted the best, you got him for a rest. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws. Dirt Racing will be available September 27th. Pre-order your copy today.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Green Flag coverage. Corey Ennis diving it down low. Fresh tires allowing the 7 to take the lead. But for how long? You've got a bunch of other drivers also dealing with fresh rubber, trying to make the mix interesting up front. Mark Morales, fresh tires, forcing it 3 wide for a quick second. They're back to 2x2. But as well, that Larry Yangling, who took himself 4 tires, has some of the freshest rubber out there of anyone on track. Started back in 10th place. He's up to 5th. As he is flying right now for the 67. Lewis does a little block, but a shimmy by the 67 to get down low, still side by side. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is Robert Moyer Jr. And Robert, let's go 3 wide once again on the backstretch.
Well, why not? I mean, we've been going 3 wide all this race here. You can see the guys with new tires, with old tires, and it's a bottleneck right now for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. God knows what position we are right now, but Larry is dicing and slicing, Sam. He's trying to figure out how to get by these guys, and he's getting there, but it's taking a little longer than I think he wants.
I mean, he certainly has done a great job again on that restart. Was back in 10th. Now going to be up to 4th for the 67. That of Chad Wilkes, though, going with a more patient approach, not initially going up the outside lane and making the passes as fast as possible. Watch out for the 12 in the green and white machine and trying to make his way forward. But right now, it's Corey Ennis leading the way, who brought out the caution just a few laps ago, and Martin Morales in 2nd position. Drivers that decided to take the gamble of fresh tires on the last stop before this last caution, but tires, no! Martin Morales flings it back to the outside, back into the grass. The 91 doesn't hit anyone, and we stay green. What a save by the 91 machine, because that could have been a lot worse than it was.
Oh, that would have been disaster. That was right in front of the field. That could have took out some top contender playoffs drivers that are trying to finish this race there, Sam. It was almost disaster.
Certainly was. As we're going to go back up to the battling that's going on for 2nd place, because Corey Ennis, he pulled away to a 2.5 lead, but he has been roped back in, and that might be a sign, Robert. The tires for the 7. You saw how inconsistent he looked on the first stint. I'm getting nervous after seeing the 91 break loose. The 7 could be the next one, as well as Justin Lewis, Chad Wilkes. They cannot get away from one another. The 12 and the 07 continuing to practically ride on each other's sides on the exit of these corners.
Well, with that 7 there of Corey, basically with Larry going to be taking over speed. First of all, Larry has been faster than that 7. So in speed in general, Sam, he's been faster. But that 7, when he got his tires put on, like he said, never mind.
No. What a save. Chad Wilkes keeping it straight after a little bit of a bang. Now Justin Lewis doing some deacon and diving to the inside, trying to get by Corey Ennis. And the entry, Lewis as well as Wilkes over the radio, just trying to give each other the all clears. It was just a weird entry in the corners while both drivers looking for the same real estate, and they came into one another, but Lewis holds steady as he'll fall to 3rd position, but the driver that loses the most is Chad Wilkes back to 6th as that heat build up from the slide for the 12. Got to be careful with that moving forward, but it's Ryan Bird taking the advantage here in the late Apex machine, as well as Kyle Rochelle.
Oh, and you can see the 07 just got a little snappy loose there. He saves it, but getting back to that 7 there, Corey, when he put his tires on, Sam, he went flying up through the field, and then the yellow came out, pulled the tires off, and went flying back up through the field again, and probably destroyed the tires. Didn't save them the way they need to be, because you can see Larry's now got a 2-second lead over Ryan Bird that just took over 2nd place, and now we're going to get ready to see Kyle Rochelle go past Corey here. So I think he burned up his stuff.
Yeah, and for the 7 of Corey Ennis, as well as the 07 of Justin Lewis, they both came into pit road 26 laps ago as Lewis pinched in the middle. Eric Kralik, who had a scare back on lap number 7, he's now back into the mix here as the Chad Wilkes puts a block on the 07, as he still wasn't feeling too liked about that situation. A few laps ago, they got the 12 sideways, but holding on, and now the 01 of Eric Kralik, as well as the 12, continue to make their march forward as Justin Lewis pulling backwards. And again, Corey Ennis as well as Justin Lewis, they are on old tires. Then the rest of the field as the 7 holds on.
Wow, now that's twice now that he did that. And you think you learn after the first time, but, you know, sometimes people learn the second time. But, hey, he saved it. Now we got Zach Hall, playoff driver, going to go on by and clear him. But, whoo, baby, his tires are probably shot.
Corey Ennis has a much bigger pack he's got to worry about behind him, though, because it's the one of Brandon Cowley moving up to that of 9th position. Qualified back in 16th. A very poor qualifying run by the one. He'll get by the 7 as well as Thomas Walter side by side with the 7 machine. Corey Ennis, this is a nightmare of a race already in the first 57 laps. We still have over 100 laps to go this evening. Again, thank you for joining with us, ladies and gentlemen, on Freaking Fast Broadcasting. Brandon Cowley, one of our biggest movers so far of the evening, trying to hold off the 04 Thomas Walter. And I'm going to say for Thomas Walter, it's been a joy to watch the 04 running this season, as he hopped in a little bit later on, didn't join immediately. The 04 has been getting faster and faster, a much better season overall on the finishes than what we saw last season, where there were some big struggling moments. And as well, it's good to see the 13, Cedric Hunter. He might be 23 laps down, but at least out there on track.
Yep. We'll have to see how it all plays out, Sam. Yeah, it's good to see him out there, but, you know, they, you know, get off the subject of this race here a little bit. As next season, just to let everybody know, we have signed with WSSR for their upcoming season, and there's a lot of things happening. If you haven't went to their social media platform and read their announcement, they are moving, Sam, from these cars to the Gen 4 Cup cars that iRacing has with the high horsepower, but they're also moving their race night. So we will not be broadcasting anymore on Saturday nights, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be moving from Saturday to Wednesday, and we'll be off Fridays and Saturdays to give us time to go out with family and friends and things like that. So I just thought I'd let everybody know that tunes in here on Saturday nights. We're moving to Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern.
And Robert, there was a huge jam up that did not bring out a yellow somehow. Corey Ennis getting loose and breaking in front of the field back in 13th position. Got collected was Christopher Norris, Mark Morales, and Jonathan Cogswell, losing a lot of time to the rest of the field, trying to move forward. But the 7, what should have brought out a caution, didn't, as we continue to stay green. And now Corey Ennis is about to be right back to where he was earlier, because he's about 5 seconds off from going a lap down and having to be passed by the whole entire field again.
Yeah, I mean, it comes to a point, Sam, you know your tires are gone. You got to stop being so aggressive and just baby the car. And that's what he's doing now, it looks like. His speeds are down. The car's not doing what it wants to do. And, yeah, he can go in and get a set of tires, but you really don't want to do that. You don't want to burn up all your tires, and then you don't have nothing for the end of the race. But, yeah, like you said, he's back here running, and we'll have to see what his game plan is going forward here in the race. But right now, Ryan Bird is still looking strong. These Apex Legend, late Apex Legend cars looking pretty good. You got Kyle Rochelle in the 21 right behind him, his teammate. You got Ryan Bird trying to catch Larry England up here at first place. It's got about a 1.5 second lead right now over Ryan. So we'll have to see if Ryan can chop that down a little bit.
Yeah, it is right now, Larry England has been flying. These last couple of laps been the fastest machine out there on track. The only other driver faster than Larry England is actually Thomas Walter back in 6th position. But Thomas Walter has been saving his tires so much. He's over 5 seconds, almost six seconds off of our leader. So he's given up the time and trying to reel back the rest of the field to go back into the top 5. And then behind the 04 is probably some of the best battling going on right now. And it's Justin Lewis who gets into the outside wall, as Zach Hall able to make the pass for 7th position. And Brandon Collins able to get by 8th. But this field, Robert, kind of shockingly, it is really split up from where everyone is. And because of how spread out the field is at this moment, it's a lot more of drivers racing the track than really racing one another.
Yeah, like you said, Sam, everybody got spread out here after the new tires and the old tires, you know, did their 15-lap battles. Yeah, it's basically all single file, and drivers are now racing the track, and I believe that's a good thing, though. You want to see that. You know, we're going to eventually see these guys that did not take tires, like Zach Hall, Brandon Colley, Brian Johnson, Tom Simchek, we got Christopher Norris. Still have not made a pit stop yet, Sam. So they still got 4 sets of tires, in pit road compared to everybody else that's got 3 sets. So we'll have to see how they play that all out.
They are inching closer and closer to the halfway marker as they continue to race this one out. Also, update for Corey Ennis, who's about to go a lap down. He's officially going to lap down. He's into pit road, taking 4 tires in fuel. Expect to get back out there on track here shortly. And as well, that of James Vining, Bob Skinner officially out of this race as they are coming up to lap 70 of this run. I do want to go back, though, Robert, what you were talking about with the WSSR and then moving dates to Wednesday night. If you've been watching us here at Freaking Fast Broadcasting, we were covering the Wicked Racing League on Wednesday nights. We are going to be moving away from them and moving that slot to the WSSR as the yellow flag is out. And it's one of the drivers who's been struggling. It's Justin Lewis bringing out the yellow. It's the 707 machine. Seeming to be another incident of drivers snapping loose and bringing out a caution. Another self-spin brings out this yellow as we're going to be getting the instant replay up for you as you see the 07 down into turn numbers 3 and 4, just automatically into the corner is loose, trying to save the vehicle, snaps back up and smashing the outside wall. As we have seen that plenty of times here tonight. We're not even at the halfway marker, and that has been the reason for almost all the yellows, is drivers just over snapping and overcorrecting, and the car just going straight up to the outside wall, which, I mean, Robert, this has been very bizarre, but what a crucial time to have this yellow flag come out.
Yeah, very bizarre. Okay, I got a question to ask you, Sam, and maybe people out there in chat. These cars are being so snappy. Messing with your brake bias, do you think, whoa, as Martin almost took out the barrels there entering pit road. But anyways, can you adjust the brakes a little bit, to stop getting that snappy loose entering?
I mean, yeah, the changing the brake bias is certainly a way to help with your entry and your sliding in that fashion. I think for some drivers that could be the initial reason on why they're snapping so much. Just having too much rear brake for yourself could just cause the rear end to step out from behind you. Not having enough rear brake also would give the feeling of just plowing straight ahead and not slowing down.
Right.
So the drivers do have the ability of changing with their brake bias on if they want more front brake, rear brake, find a balance in between. And that's, for some drivers, I know for Christopher Norris, I've talked and raced with him a lot. He is all about each lap trying to find the perfect brake bias for each lap. He is always changing it. Other drivers, they stick with the default settings. They never touch it throughout a race. So it's an ever-changing kind of a feeling aspect for drivers on what they feel the most comfortable with when they make those decisions.
That's interesting that you say that about Christopher Norris, that every lap he's looking at changing brake bias. I would imagine that would be worse than better. How do you get in a groove, though? Keep changing. You never know what the car's going to do when you go into the turn.
Oh, it's kind of an over-exaggeration for Norris on that fashion.
Okay.
It feels like it's like that. He doesn't actually. It's more of like a 5 to 10 lap run.
Okay, that sounds
he
better.
feels like, he has a feeling of maybe it's stepping out or maybe it's not slowing down enough. Where he'll either brake more would be, for some people, that's what they would do. They brake sooner. For others, they like a certain pattern of, I want to hit my brake at this spot, so I'll just add some more brake to make sure that this one spot I'm aiming for is that braking point.
I gotcha. I was like, holy mackerel, that's not good. If you're changing it every lap, how you know what your car's going to do? You have to give it time to, settle in and heat up the tires and, things like that. Wow, okay. Oh, boy.
If you're changing it every lap, that's when you have an F1 team behind you, and that's when they're telling you each corner to what dial it needs to be on.
Right,
so
that's very true.
That
very true. And F1 actually, they do that. So.
Man, F1 also Indy cars and the Indy 500. Having their qualifier today, that was fun to watch. But.
Yeah. I actually missed it, unfortunately. I actually wound up watching the baseball game, like I told you before we went live, but. Yeah, I didn't get the chance to see the Indy 500, but it's a special weekend here. We got a holiday coming up next weekend, and, we're coming to the end of tonight's event here very shortly. We've got about another 100 laps to go, And then we got 2 more races after this. I mean, things are winding down here pretty fast for a little bit, Sam, and before we ramp it back up again.
Yeah, drivers are getting prepared for this season to be over, and for their off season to start. And for us, when everyone else's off seasons are going on, we're taking our own quote unquote break for ourselves. I know on my end, I don't know if I'm really getting a true break, because we got a lot of content that we've got setting up for off season to continue to let you have freaky fast content with our podcast, the Cool Down Lap. We get to hear about the drivers as well as the long run season 2. If you're watching the ISRC Truck Series last season for season 3, we had the long run giving you the behind the scenes of how their season 3 playoffs had a breakdown. Well, their season 4 breakdown expected to be posted throughout the off season, and I'm pretty proud, Robert, on the fact that the drivers, even though the episodes weren't coming out live while they were racing, they were allowing me to have my time to actually put the effort in to make sure the videos have the best quality they can have possible for this second season of the long run. That should be coming out next week.
Your videos are perfectly fine without you even trying.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm happy my hours make it look that easy.
I know it's not easy, but I know. But you do one well of a job here for Freaky Fast, and all the viewers and the drivers do much appreciate it, Sam. But we're back green here as we're going to be watching Zach Hall try to get around Eric Kralik going down here in the 1 and 2, going down the backstretch here and see if he can maybe make a move, because how many drivers? I didn't look at the standings again. How many? 4 or 5 drivers? 6 points out? What are we looking at here?
You got 5 drivers that are all within striking distance of just 6 points out from one another. Larry Yingling leading the way. He's hoping to get all the bonus points for himself. But into this night, he had a 1-point advantage over Zach Hall. And then Brandon Colley had a 5 points out from Larry Yingling. The last 2 drivers with Brian Johnson and Tom Senchek both being 6 points out. Now, Brian got to lead a lap. So that's at least equaling ground on Larry there on trying to gain footing. But at this rate, Larry Yingling's going to be aiming for that most laps led, which would be an extra bonus point. And then if you win the race, you get 1 bonus point. So there's 3 total max out bonus points you can grab if you're a driver that wins, leads the most laps, and just leads a lap. Those are your extra 3 points on top of wherever you finish, which each position is a 1-point difference.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure you're ahead of the driver that you're trying to beat, which right now, Larry's doing just that.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, he's out in the lead. So for all them drivers that you talked about there, Sam, for the playoffs, Zach Hall has not led a lap yet. Brian Johnson has, you said. Christopher Norris hasn't led a lap yet. So they're missing out on that 1 point no matter what position they finish. It's great. You got to get it. But maxing out is the key. And if Larry can max out and get them 3 extra bonus points, that's huge. No matter if Zach, winds up finishing in second position, Larry still maximized the point system. And I believe Zach would actually probably lose points, to him being minus 1 point. He could be minus 3 to 4 points behind after tonight's event.
Yeah, I mean, if Zach finishes where he's at right now, Larry finishes where he's at right now, Zach would then fall to being over 7 to 8 points out from that championship leading position with 2 more races left in the playoffs. So this 42 needs to gain these spots and positionings, and with this last yellow that just came out, it's reset everyone. A lot of drivers taking their second set of tires for Zach Hall, Brian Johnson, as well as Colley and Tom Senchek and Christopher Norris. Those 5 drivers finally used their first set of tires, but they lost so much ground that they need this race to potentially have a couple of more yellows so that they can have that advantage swing of using up that extra set of tires to try to gain the track position that they gave up earlier in this race. But the battle for 4th still raging on, with Chad Wilkes just hovering in that middle lane defending Zach Hall.
Yeah, he's hovering. He's looking good. The car looks good. That Nickelodeon machine, that Ford out there running, like you said, and 4th position looking really, really good. But, back to what you're saying with these guys with the tires, Larry did use an extra set of tires than what Brian Johnson and Zach Hall and all them guys did. So I don't know if that's going to come, down the road, if that's going to play a factor or not, Sam.
Yeah, it will become a much bigger factor if we see a lot of cautions blossom up in the final 70 laps of this race, where Larry is then trapped in a I've only got one set while the other drivers have two sets type of a situation where they can take that advantage and take the track position over the 67, and it kind of puts Larry Yingling in a box later on in this race. If that's the big question, if we get a lot of late yuck cautions that enable that situation. But if we stay green, these drivers are expecting just one stop from here on out to take us to the end of this race, which would mean Larry Yingling is in the better spot. He's got the track position, he's got the positioning, and he only would have to use just one more set of tires. But again, these drivers aiming for the end of this race. But if a late caution comes out, that's when everything can go up in smoke for the 67.
That could go up in smoke. So, yeah, it's something he does not want to see. But there is something that we do got going on in June here, Sam.
That we do. If you have not been paying attention to our broadcasts recently or on our social media posts, we have ourselves our second charity race of the year. It's our Gamer Outreach 600. We're just talking about the fact that WSSR is moving over to the Gen 4 Cup cars. Also, going to be hearing the fact that Thursday night moving to the Gen 4 Cup cars. So get yourselves prepared. It's going to be your first look at the Gen 4 cars for us here at Fast Broadcasting as we're taking those to Charlotte for 400 laps, 600 miles, and it's all for a great cause. Just like our other charity events, it's a $5 minimum donation if you'd like to race. And if not, hey, go down to our community Discord channel and check out the links of the event, charity event links, where you can go find all the information on sharing. If you don't want to donate any money, that's completely okay. I know money can be tight for some people, but if you'd like to donate and help in a charity event, you can just donate and help out the cause. As we have over 25 drivers already signed up. Hey, would you like to be a part of the group that's ready to race for the Gamers Outreach 600? And Robert, can't wait for it. Like I said, June 10th is that time.
Oh, most definitely. I can't wait for that event. I've always wanted to do like our Coke 600 here at Freaky Fast. Well, I finally got the crew, and finally we can do it. And it's good for a good cause. Gamer Outreach to help these kids be able to play games and video games and just feel different inside the hospital. So make sure you go check out gameroutreach.org, I believe it is. You can find all that stuff, or just do a Google search, Gamer Outreach, and you'll be able to read up on that stuff. So it's our, like you said, Sam, it's our second to last one of the year. We're only going to be doing 2 a year moving forward. And, Juvenile Diabetes says we're going to go 3 wide here. And, wow, that's the 07 just got out of the way. But, anyways, we're going to do our Juvenile Diabetes and the Coke 600 like we did this year. So, anyways, back to the race, bud.
Back to the race, and here is the battle for 8th position. The 8th car, Tom Simchak trying to get by Thomas Walzer. You saw the 07 of Justin Lewis. Lewis has just gone a lap down as he will become the first car a lap down. Corianis trying to get by to become the first car a lap down. But this battle, so crucial for Tom Simchak. The reasoning why he is trying to keep up with Zach Hall and Brian Johnson that are 5th and 6th position, as they're trying to close in on Larry Yingling as the 8 makes the pass. Now Christopher Norris set up to go for 9.
That looks like Christopher Norris. He needs this pass too, because you got Tom Simchak trying to run down Brian Johnson and Zach Hall, like you said there, Sam. But Christopher Norris is doing the same thing. He's got to run down Tom Simchak and them other 2. So he's got a little battle ahead of him too, with 93 laps of 170 in the books here at WSSR. What a great season we had so far here, and we, going into the playoffs, Sam, we were like, I don't know how this is all going to work out, and it seemed a little dull. The past 2 races showed us different. Playoffs are now up in the battle, and anybody of them top 4 to 5, as we got a caution out, can win that championship.
And it's going to be the 07 of Justin Lewis getting himself loose and self-spinning. And with having oncoming traffic, that will bring out our cautions. Self-spin showing tonight. For some drivers, Iowa is just not the track for yourself. As we take a look here, the 07 going to be heading down into turn number 1. Just oversteps on the entry. The rear end kicks out. And there he goes, looping around. And it's going to be the 7 machine. Drives by, and he's going to hold on. But that is what brings out our caution, as the field comes racing on by. And that yellow, we're actually going to take a quick break for ourselves here. Thank you so much for being with us, drivers. taking advantage here of coming into pit road for those that only took one set of tires earlier. Well, how big of an advantage is this going to be? We'll find out on this next restart. You're watching the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series Season 6 playoffs. This is race 3 of 5 for the playoffs. This is the Iowa Shenanigans 150. We'll be back right after this.
I think I watched Josh 3 or 4 times before I ran the car. He killed them every race, and it was like stout fields, like good cars, big races, and I mean, he was unbeatable. And I was like, oh man, this is, like, I'm nervous. I was so nervous getting into the car full time this year after watching Josh win 3 or 4 races straight. These cars, they have a lot of horsepower now. They have over 500, and I think 5 years ago they didn't have 450. They're gonna be a handful to drive, but just don't overdrive them. Let the car do the work.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series action as you are watching the Season 6 playoffs. Up front, it's Larry Yingling and Ryan Bird. We're about to get back to Green Flag Racing, but we got to give a quick shout out as they're taking off to Roasted Gems Coffee. Go get your premium coffee out today, and as well, Trophy Smack. Guys, we will touch more on them shortly here as we're back to Green Flag Racing. Larry Yingling, Ryan Bird. Will Ryan Bird take the point as he has been trying a lot of different ways to get by this 67, but Larry just seems to be on a different destination as Ryan Bird, great lunge to the inside. If I can get the words out, as that of the 49, 67 side by side. Oh no, Connor Rochelle snapped loose on the exit, and it's going to be a bunch of drivers caught up in this one.
Oh, and James Hackworth Jr. just T-boned him. Wow, Sam.
And just like that, we have ourselves another caution.
And cold tires.
Oh, man.
It's amazing with these cold tires, how they just snap, Sam. You know what I mean?
When they're cold, when they're warm, you never know what you're going to get. And here's a replay of what caused this 6th caution of the day. Kyle Rochelle snaps loose, really yanks the wheel over to try to save it, but grips up while he's still turning to the right and sends it right back up into the 12. Where Chad Wilkes just nowhere to go. And then here comes drivers are trying to slow down for Kyle Rochelle. I mean, that of Aaron Krolick, Thomas Walter, giving some contact into Rochelle. Then Rochelle just trying to let the car glide, then decides to brake here, where James Hackworth Jr. was expecting the 21 because he kept on rolling that he was going to continue to do so, doesn't, and hits the rear end, T-boning, and drivers that were deeper in the field caught up in the mess, and it's going to be Kyle Rochelle and Chad Wilkes, both forced into pit road as they have required damage for themselves. And Robert, another wreck, another caution, and caution number 6 now out here tonight.
Yep, caution number 6 here. Unfortunately, cautions breathe caution sometimes as they go for lunch, Sam was trying to say.
Yeah, I was trying to say lunge, but I just, my tongue was just so caught up. Came back. I was trying to say every word that could come out of the sentence, but that one just didn't.
That's all right. I do it all the time. But anyways, how's everybody doing out there since we're under yellow again here? Not much to talk about, so hey, how's YouTube chat going? How's everybody out there enjoying tonight's event? Me and Sam calling the race. You enjoying it, having fun? If you are, don't forget to hit that share button, like button. And if you're new here and you want to chat with us, you got to hit that subscribe button to be able to chat with us as we're here with these guys here at Iowa that's putting on a decent show. But back to the racing here a little bit, Sam. I just wonder what Ryan Bird's trying to figure out. You know, this last restart, he couldn't do it on the outside. Larry had the inside. He looked pretty strong there. But going into 1 and 2, Ryan decided to drive it a little bit deeper than we've seen him do all night.
Yeah, and I think it was a lot of, again, like I said, searching on where to go. I think Brian gave us the blueprint on how to get by the 67. It's just the holding off Larry Yingling after 5 or 6 laps of being in front of him is a difficult march because Larry does not want to stay in the dirty air of another driver. Just feels like that's not where he's going to feel the most comfortable. So 67's willing to be aggressive, but Brian being in 4th place, a driver to watch out for, especially those that are from 4th on back, having themselves with just coming into pit road on the caution before this is going to be the drivers from 4th all the way down to 9th place, all just got new sets of tires. Then behind them are drivers that just got fresh rubber now on top of trying to get repairs done. So this is about to get very interesting for Larry Yingling, Ryan Bird, Brandon Colley, because they're on 32 lap old tires, while the rest of the field is on 8 old lap tires or even fresher rubber than that.
Yeah, and what I've seen here so far, Sam, is I think Larry's going to be fine. He's got the speed in the car. It's the other guys behind him, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, have the speed, but not. They're like 1/10 to 2/10 off of what Larry's pulling right now, but we'll have to see how this all plays out when we get back green here because I'm interested in watching what Brian Bird's going to do. But now definitely most interesting that I'm going to watch is what Brandon Colley's going to do. He's got to start behind Larry on the inside. Does he push Larry? Does he try to go 3 wide coming through 1 and 2? Does Brian Johnson, we know he's has speed on the top side, past Larry multiple times, but like you said, passing Larry's no problem. Keeping Larry behind you is the problem. Oh, we got a delay.
As we're going to be delaying this, as I believe a driver was struggling to get into pit road and causing drivers not to be able to take off this go-around, which that's all right. It gives us time. You know, Robert, we weren't able to really show off their logo, so let's show them off now. We got sponsors to talk about once again, and those are going to be starting off with Roasted Gems Coffee. Roasted Gems Coffee, they are the title sponsor here for the WSSR Cup Series. They've been a great sponsor to have, a great quality coffee as well as they got other merch. And if you have not checked out their wide selection of different brews that you can grab for yourselves, well, check out at roastedgems.com. And while you're checking it out, you see the coffee you want, remember to use the promo code WSSR for 5% off. And talking about getting yourself discounts, go head over to that at trophysmack.com. Some of these wrecks certainly been massive ones, and if you've seen a wreck that you thought, man, that might be the most brutal one of them all, because we've seen a lot here tonight, well, type it in. Say what lap, what car you thought had the biggest wreck, and maybe that will be your wall smack moment of the race. Celebrating some of the worst moments for some drivers, celebrating the best moments for others. Go get your wall smack today, as it is a great work to have. It's a stainless steel high gloss artwork that's completely customizable. Get your image, post it in Trophy Smack, and you can get your wall smack today. Thank you so much to our two amazing sponsors. And while you're getting your wall smack from Trophy Smack, remember use the promo code WSSR Cup for 10% off. Into the restart zone, and we're back to green flag racing, and Christopher Norris bounces to the third lane to make sure he doesn't run over Brian Johnson, as we are getting chaotic now as Ryan Bird having the run on the outside.
Yeah, well, he's going to have the run on the outside, like you said, Sam. He's going to see if he can do something here with Larry, but right back there, third, second, and fourth position, side by side. Paulie's going to go up and block off Christopher Norris here for a little bit, and now we got Brian Johnson stuck down at the bottom line. You got Zach Hall now finally coming up through. Oh, this is going to start heating up here as the laps are winding down, Sam.
Big thing to watch out for, the 49, the 67, and the 1 on very old tires. The rest of the field on fresh rubber. As now you're seeing Brian Johnson trying to move up as quickly as he can to take these spots, get fresh air, and pull away. Zach Hall trying to get into the mix, because for Zach at this moment, he hasn't led a lap. Larry has led the most laps, which means Zach needs to at least get in front of Larry by 3 positions if he wants to tie, as he almost makes contact with the 67 on the exit at 2, as Brian Johnson now aims for the lead position.
Yeah, well, you got Zach Hall just pitted on lap 95 compared to everybody else on lap 71. So, yeah, I mean, you see a tire difference here, and this is key. Zach Hall has to get in front of that 67, which I believe he should be able to due to the tires. But now Brian Johnson is going to be fighting Ryan Bird. Man, poor Ryan Bird. He battled Larry to get by him, and now he's got Brian Johnson beside him that he's got to battle. Man, poor Bird is not having to bird for the work tonight.
Absolutely not, but he's going to just fall into second. And Ryan Bird, the big thing for him is at least he knows that he can keep in decent pace with drivers that have a 15 to 16 lap advantage of tires over him. He just needs to get the outside, try to side draft, slow down the other driver about a lap and a half. And what the 49 is looking for, as well as the 67, is a late caution to come out to get them back into the mix. They've only used 2 sets of the 4. They still have 1 more set to work with if a caution comes out here in the next 5 to 10 laps.
Yeah, and the trend of tonight's race here showed that yellows have been coming out here, Sam, with the cars getting snappy loose or battling. So that might fall, right into their hands, but it has to be within the next 5 to 10 laps, because the more laps we wind down, it becomes a point where it's not, you know what I mean? It's just the tires, you can't utilize your tires because you ain't going to have enough of laps. So right now, they're wishing right now as, Ryan Bird's getting loose there, Sam.
Yeah, he's starting to show a wiggle, but as long as it doesn't get any worse than that in the next couple of laps, he should be able to continue to race this out. But if we see any more wiggling, I think for the 49, he just wants to get to that middle groove and not have a driver underneath them, which it's not looking like he's finding that opening as he continues to fall back. Right on board with the tide machine of Aaron Kralik as Ryan Bird is getting by the 49. Now Ryan, that of Thomas Walter is going to try to get by Ryan here as he got sitting down low. Continue to race this thing out as Brian P. Johnson leads the way. Important for the 28 to gain these points for himself, as he was 6 points away from Larry Yingling, and if the 28 finds himself in the victory lane, he's going to march even closer to Zach Hall and Larry by the end of this race if we continue to stay green.
Well, yeah, if we stay green and this runs out here, we got Larry all the way back in 10th position here now, Sam. So he's lost a lot of points to these top runners here of Christopher Norris, Zach Hall. Oh my God! Wait, the top 6 actually are playoff drivers. So, wow. I mean, Larry needs to figure this out. You know, if we stay green, Sam, what would you do if you were Larry? Would you make a pit stop here very shortly within the next 10 laps?
You can't pit. You have to stay out. You're banking on a yellow. You cannot afford to go into pit road. That's going to be putting you at least 1, maybe even 2 laps down.
That's true.
So you have to wait for a caution flag to wave, which you hate to throw it out there, but some of the drivers that have brought out the most cautions here tonight still out on track. So there's still a chance someone could step out and make that mistake. But Zach Hall trying to make this pass on Brian Johnson. Crucial point to grab if he at least can lead a lap, because that's minimizing the amount of loss that could have been if Brian wins this race without the 42 winning.
Yeah, the way this all is playing out here, Sam, it's going to get very interesting. Zach Hall needs to get by Brian Johnson, like you said, to get that 1 point. But I got a funny feeling as we go down into Atlanta and then we're going to head down to the southern of Miami there for Homestead, that last race could come down to crucial points. I mean, depending on where they finish and how this all plays out, it's really starting to look like Homestead's going to be the place where we going to have a battle for points. I just see it coming.
Yeah, and right now, another driver that's going to need a caution badly, that's Brandon Colley in the 1. He's another driver that was right in the mix. He was part of those 5 drivers that were in the fight for a championship within 6 points of one another. Colley was 3rd in points coming into tonight. He just was 5 points off of Larry Yingling. Right now, the 1 falling all the way down to 12th position, as he's part of those 3 drivers himself, Ryan Bird and Larry Yingling. They are 10th, 11th, and 12th. Old tires and needing a caution badly to get back into the mix of this race, as all 3 of those drivers, again, have used up just that for that of Brandon Colley, only 1 set of tires. That of Larry Yingling, Ryan Bird, they've used 2 sets. This one, probably the most gutsiest call of them all, because he's just holding on to these tires instead of coming into pit road that last time by.
Yeah, I mean, it's a gutsy call, as we're going to have Ryan Bird now going to try to get around Larry here, and they're both still in old tires. And we've seen this all night long for 1st and 2nd position when they were battling. Well, now we're back here in 10th and 11th position, as Ryan's trying to figure out how to get around Larry, and Larry's still with the old tires, still pulling away from him.
Pulling away, looking comfortable, as Justin Lewis now getting in the mix. Lewis is on fresh tires for the 07, but also dealing with some damage. He'll duck to the inside of Ryan Bird. Also the speed difference through the center of the corner, as Justin Lewis tries to get back into the throttle, but a little bit boxed in, not able to get where he wants to be. Ryan Bird holding steady. This is battling for 11th position. Crucial points for that of the 1, and as well as the 67 here being this far back. But I mean, I gotta say, Robert, we touched on the fact of some drivers running well. 3rd place runner Christopher Norris, this is another crucial position, as Tom Sinchek, who came in tied with 4th in points with Brian Johnson, now trying to get by the 38.
As the 38's going to get loose coming out of 4, he's going to save it. He drive it up into the wall almost, but wow, he saved it. But yeah, it looks like he's just battling a loose car. But hey, even if he can finish here where he's at, position, it's a great run for this 38 machine, as Aaron Krolick's now going to look underneath him.
Aaron Krolick trying to dive it down low to make this pass possible potentially here. Other drivers trying to get in the mix, but as we're right on board, see in the mirror, the 01 not able to make that clearance just yet. But get cockpit view. This is going to be, oh boy, gets loose, comes up, hits Krolick as it forces the 01 to the outside, immediately apologizing over the radio, as right when we hopped into the cockpit view, you can see how loose it was on the entry. And keep those eyes on the hands. He's wiggling it back and forth, and outside wall's getting close for Christopher Norris now.
You can literally see the car floating, Sam. Watch when he goes through the turns, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, no!
Hit the brakes. And he's into the wall, unfortunately. And that's 2 laps in a row now going into turn 1 and 2 that he's having problems, Sam.
3 wide. You don't want to see this when you have a vehicle that's snapping loose like Christopher Norris. He's going to have Corey Ennis. Ennis needs to move down. I don't think the 7's going to recognize that this is a very dangerous corner that we're going to be seeing the 38 go into. He's had that loose sensation the last 2 laps. Can he hold on for this one? And it looks stable enough. And Robert, I don't know how this 38 didn't break loose there.
Yeah, I don't know. He changed something. He did 2 laps going into 1, and I think snapped and almost took out Aaron Kralik. Then he dragged it up into the wall. And now as this lap going by, he seemed to learn something or back the car down is what you need to do, Sam. Yeah, it stinks. You don't want to lose positions, but you can see he has backed it down. He learned. He goes, whoa, I can't do that again. And he's backed it down. So
he's backed it down for now. But Corey Ennis trying to work the outside lane. Same for Jonathan Cogswell. They're trying to set up how to get by this 38 as everyone gets in line, settles for a quick moment. But other great battles that are going on track. The drivers that are multiple laps down, battling with one another. That's Kyle Rochelle as well as Cedric Hunter. They cannot get away from one another as these 2 drivers, Cedric Hunter, 22 laps down. Kyle Rochelle's 15 laps down. But they're racing around drivers that are inside of our top 10 as our caution flag comes out. And it's going to be Jonathan Cogswell.
And that's what these guys needed to see. Ryan Bird, Larry, and also Brendan Colley. They needed to see this, Sam.
It was a very crucial caution flag to come out. 40 laps to go here tonight. And Jonathan Cogswell's spin could be the spin that saves Ryan Bird, Larry Yingling. But the problem is now that they've given up all this track position, most of the field is in the same situation that they're in at this moment. As you see, there touches the apron as the 27 goes back up in the field. But this is one thing to get scary because the caution flag is out, gases it up, and there's Ryan Bird almost getting collected. Drivers got to keep their head on a swivel sometimes when they're moving and finally clearing from an accident. But luckily, no one else extra involved there in that Jonathan Cogswell wreck that brought out our most recent caution. But tires-wise, Robert, here, most of the field still has 2 sets of tires to work with. Drivers that aren't in that situation, I believe, is Eric Kralik, Thomas Walter, and others that could be in a trickier spot. But the whole entire field looks to be coming into pit road, except for Martin Morales and James Hackworth Jr.
Well, this is going to get very interesting. Let's play this out in our heads here, Sam. Got 133 laps of 170. You got guys that are coming in that's got 2 sets of tires. After they take, they're going to have 1 set left. The trend that we've been seeing here is about 20 to 30 laps. The car gets really evil on these guys, and something happens and we get a yellow. If we keep that trend, that would be around 160 with 10 laps to go, with people with no sets of tires and everybody else with 1 set of tires. Very interesting.
Very much so. As Brandon Colley as well as James Hackworth Jr., Martin Morales still out on track as Colley's got to give up those positions as
Why didn't Colley
a driver that he still hasn't pitted yet. He's going to be expected to come in this time by as he was given the lucky dog position. So he had to wait until everyone else made their pit stop before he can go into pit road.
I didn't know he was
so he's going in as well as that of Hackworth Jr. and James Kaufman getting their service done. But up front, Martin Morales deciding not to pit here, Robert, and this could be the scariest moment if the 91 decides to continue to stay out, because that means we're going to be seeing the 91 machine holding up the rest of the field on 31 lap old tires compared to the rest of the field.
Yeah. Oh, most definitely. We've seen the fall-offs with after about 5 to 10 laps. 31 lap difference on tires, he is going to fall like a fly. So, but like you said, what do these guys in the back do that got fresher tires? You know, you can't sit back and try to work your way around them. I mean, you want to do it safely, of course, but I don't know, man. You gotta go. You can't sit back because it seems very difficult to pass here tonight. So getting by somebody, you gotta do it on the start of the green flag, or try to work them, because you got the top 5 that are in the playoffs. They're very fast drivers. You got Larry now back here in 9th position. You got Bird in 10th position. They're going to be coming up through the field. You got Brandon Colley that got his lap back here. Now he's in 13th position. He's got to work through the field. And these guys got 135 laps. Are going to go back green around 137 or so. You can't sit and wait. You got to go.
Yeah, you really do got to go. And for Brandon Colley, he's in the most interesting spot of all the drivers here tonight, because if we go into a 10, 15 lap run, then a caution flag comes out, this one machine can easily come into pit road and use a set. He's got an extra one to work with. He's got 2 sets of tires in pit road. The rest of the field only have one more set to take them to the end of this race. So the one is playing a very dangerous game of now relying on a caution at the right moment so he can use up that advantage. And if a caution flag comes out too late into a run, then everyone's coming into pit road. That slight advantage you had isn't going to work out. So there's a very small margin. The one is hoping for a caution. We'll see if it pops up at that time, but it's going to be Mark Morales up front. That is Cedric Hunter hoping to get a wave around for that of the 13, as well as Kyle Rochelle. They both will get that wave around. We're stacking and getting ready to get racing here. But Robert, I know we had our fun. We were joking around on some of these wrecks, but like we've seen before, fresh rubber, cold tires, cold track. These first couple of laps are going to be dangerous.
Oh, most definitely dangerous, too. And to go back on to what you were saying with the one of Brian Colley with his extra set of tires, is Ryan Bird in the same situation, correct?
No.
No?
Ryan Bird, as well as Larry Yingling, both those drivers they used their extra set earlier in the race.
Okay.
They did it back on lap 23.
Okay.
So they're in a much similar situation as our front runners at this time.
Okay, all right. Yep, well, we're going to find out here, ladies and gentlemen, as we're going to get ready to get freaky fast, freaky crazy, and freaky nuts here as we got that 91 waiting for that green flag. Green flag is out. Here we go, Sam, down into turn 1.
And it's going to be the 91 machine again on 31 flat old tires compared to the rest of the field. And you can see this difference already. Moves straight up to that third lane. And now you're going to be seeing everyone to the inside, passing it. Tom Sinchek not waiting for anyone. The 8, what a massive run as he dives it down low, trying to get by Brian Johnson to lead a lap. As Tom Sinchek realizing every point so crucial to grab for himself. And you see there back in our screen, they were 3 wide with some drivers making some big moves. It's Larry Yingling down below that of the 01 of Aaron Kralik. It's Larry, what a power move for himself from 9th up to 6th place.
Yeah, he's got a power moving. We know he's got speed in the car, and here comes Ryan Bird. He's going to try to fall right behind Larry, try to work his way up through the field as Larry's going to look on the outside of Aaron Kralik to go down into turn 1. He's got the sniff of the draft of the 38 of Christopher Norris. He does clear him, and now he's got to set sail on that 38 and 42, Sam.
Larry Yangling's been so fast on the short runs. He just knows how to maximize his tires. Overall, this car, he said last week when he won, the car's just feeling a lot more like the Gen 6 at some of these tracks. And this track at Iowa, back at that of Season 3 when they were running the Gen 6 car, he won almost every lap to dominate and come away with the Iowa win. Well, 3 seasons later, in 67, it's not as dominant fashion, but trying to get the win for himself as he tries to make the pass for 3rd place. Zach Hall defending the best that he can, but Larry Yingling just really messing with the prey at this moment, trying to figure out where he wants to go.
Oh, most definitely. And you know Zach Hall, they battled the past 2 weeks here, and Larry, came out with the win last week, like you said. Zach Hall is not going to lay over. He's going to race him hard, and he's going to block him, and he's going to say, look, if you're going to pass me, you're going to have to pass me on the high side. You can already see that he's not giving him that low line at all.
And Zach, I've been talking with him throughout the week. He even said, hey, this is a very important race. He decided to not join the Discord call with his teammates that he's been with all these past couple of seasons, just staying with in communication. Tonight, tried something different, make sure he just didn't throw away a race, wanted to fully focus. And right now is the most crucial time of the race. Keep this track position, keep the 67 behind you so you can make the difference as minimal as possible heading into these last 2 races of the season. Ryan Johnson might go out and win this thing, but at least you'll still be able to keep the position of 2nd place in points. As Zach Hall, Larry Yingling almost door banging into that of the entry of turn 3.
Oh, Zach's not going to lay over. He is in that freaking fast racing team car, number 42. You can call him Rainbow Warrior if you want, but yeah, unfortunately Larry just got by him. But with that Fruit Stripes car or whatever we want to call it, unfortunately, he couldn't hold off Larry. He tried for multiple laps there, Sam, but Larry is just a little tick through, like I said, about 1/10 to 2/10 faster than everybody else. And you can only hold somebody off that's about that faster than you for a certain amount of laps. No matter if your tires are good or not, they're eventually going to work their way around you. As Ryan Bird now is looking under Christopher Norris.
That's actually going to be Ryan Bird trying to make this pass. And he's been trying his best to keep up with Larry, just not able to. At this rate that we're seeing 67 just move through the field, this late apex machine of the 49, trying every spot possible. Christopher Norris not trying to give up too much of the spacing, but I think for Norris, he's realized I gotta protect this vehicle. I've had too many scares here tonight. I still want a good top 10 finish here at Iowa.
Yeah, top 10 would be good for the 38. It wouldn't be the maximum points that he would want, or finish up, second, third, fourth, in between there. But hey, if you can come out with the top 10, better than 20th. It's also better than, 11th position. So that's I think you're right, Sam. I think after having a couple of scares, I think he just needs to back off and just give what the track is going to give you. Do what the car is going to give you, and don't try to push it any harder. As we have Thomas Walker now going to try to look underneath him here, coming through 3 and 4, but just back up. I would just, lay over a little bit and take it easy.
Talking about backing off, didn't happen. The 7 gets in the 0-1 of Eric Kralik. Kralik with an amazing save for himself. And the Brandon Colley says, thank you very much. I'll take those 2 spots as he'll move up to 8th place.
Brandon Colley trying to work his way up through, like you said, that helped him. He got around them 2 there. As Corey, he had multiple almost spinning out thing there, Sam. Car not looking very nice to him at all. And here he is running in, where's he at? Running in 10th position. Not a bad run for that 7.
Not at all. And the big thing is a lot of his scares, he's kept it off the wall, while other drivers have found themselves getting into the outside wall and completely thrown away their races. The 7 might have been the reason for some of these wrecks and cautions that have come out, but at least he's still in the fight. As talking about fighting, Christopher Norris fighting right back to that of Ryan Bird ahead for 5th place, and also battling with one another. The closing rate of 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, they are stacked on top of one another. As Thomas Walter, we saw him shimmying a few laps ago. He's going to be a driver to watch out for later on in this run. But Larry Yingling trying to set up to make this pass to make sure he doesn't let anyone close in on the points difference for the championship race. And the 67 still trying to sweep the playoffs. If he wins here tonight, he's won 3 out of 3 of the playoff races that ran this season.
Yeah, that would be something to go back and say, that's called domination right there with 19 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen. But watching these last laps, Brian Johnson ran a 24.3. And Thomas ran a 24.3, and so did Larry, ran a 24.3, and Larry and Zach ran the same lap time. So again, that goes back to what I was telling everybody. It's hard to pass. Once you're basically stuck, and you got to have that driver in front of you mess up to get around. So that's why we've been seeing this really close action racing. Cedric Hunter
right in front of the field. The 13 spins out, and that could be the caution that sets up Brandon Colley to come into pit road and others to make their stop.
Most definitely, as we're going to go back and look at this replay here, but wow. This is going to get very interesting now.
Very much so, with all the drivers trying to set up. And you
it's
just
just
see
a lazy spin.
Cedric Hunter just spins around. Nothing he can really do about that wreck. Brings out the yellow as Mark Morales is there. There goes our leaders blasting on by, and no one able to react. But lazy spin for sure by the 13. There's not much that he can really do for himself in that type of a situation, due to the fact of him feeling the confidence of the way we've seen Cedric running here tonight. That was not the way that he wanted to see a late caution come out.
Most definitely not, as we're getting ready to watch everybody come down through 17 laps to go, Sam, and we noted on this, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to get interesting. Everybody's going to take their tires, and some of these drivers, I do believe it's their last set of tires with 17, 16 laps to go. So this, like you said, fell into Colley's hands. He can put fresh tires on, but everybody else has got fresh tires. So unfortunately, that didn't work with the 10 laps. But if we have another 7 laps, would you go in if you're Colley and put fresh tires back on and make 7 laps different? No, you don't think so?
No, you're past the spot of no return at this point, because there's just track position is so important.
True.
And even with 7 laps, there's so many drivers at this point that have already used up all their sets that you'd be so far in the field that you just wouldn't be able to make up all that time. I think for Collie, he needed that caution to come out maybe 10 more laps, 5 to 10 more laps sooner. That would have given him that opening to kind of work around the caution, how many laps were left. But at this point, you're stuck with what you got after this pit stop.
Good point. And I just read off the lap times. These guys were literally running the same lap times with hundreds of difference on laps. So, like you said, you go in the pit, you fall back farther. You can't make that up. It's unfortunately, but hey, he's still running here in 10th position. He's still got a chance to get a top 10 out of this whole ordeal. You got Zach Hall back here in 7th position now. You got Christopher Norris that fell back in 8th position. Larry's back in 5th position. This is interesting. You got Thomas Walter. What happened here?
So Thomas Walter, Aaron Krolick, and Corey Ennis all have already used up all their tires. They are forced to stay out. They are on 23-lap-old tires. The rest of the field have all used up their set, except for Brandon Colley, who still has one more set to work with in pit road. So we are left with the field we have now, and this is going to be a very crucial restart because with having 3 drivers up ahead, that means that inside lane is going to be in the worst situation, and the driver starting there, it's going to be Larry Yingling in the 67.
Yeah, this is going to get very interesting because, again, we said it on the last yellow. I'll say it again. Can't wait. You got to go. You can't pass. It's very hard to pass. Everybody's running, basically, these fast guys are running the same lap times. Over and over and over. So the only way to gain a position, Sam, is you got to pounce and you got to force the issue, and that's going to be the problem. You're going to see somebody come down here in the 1 and 2 or 3 and 4, and they're just going to drive it in deep, try to get that position or side draft. So we'll have to see. With 14 laps to go, be about 13 laps to go. This is going to get extremely interesting.
It very much will be, and we want to give a last shout out to the sponsors again for the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series, that being Roasted Gems Coffee as well as Trophy Smack. But Roasted Gems Coffee, remember to use the promo code WSSR for 5% off. And for Trophy Smack, they have been the trophy sponsor. They've been the trophy builders for the WSSR the last couple of seasons, as they've had the championship rings that Vincent Sora gets to rock for himself after winning the last 2 championships. This season, someone new is getting a ring from Trophy Smack, and that means that if you would like to get yourself some custom championship belts, rings, trophies, and more, go head over to TrophySmack.com and use the promo code WSSR Cup. That's WSSR CUP. When getting your purchases done, that is 10% off on all items at TrophySmack.com. Big thank you to being a major sponsor here at WSSR, as well as Roasted Gems Coffee for being a part of this race. This could be one of the final restarts of the night. Thomas Walter, Aaron Krolick, Corey Ennis, all on old tires. The rest of the field just took what could be their last set of the night. And with us coming to 12 laps to go, who's winning the Iowa Shenanigans 150 here at Iowa Speedway? Here we go into the restart zone. Let's get racing here at Iowa, as it's going to be Thomas Walter. Great launch for himself. They're already going to be bouncing 3 wide as they come across the line. That outside lane did not go, and that's going to be an interesting to look back on type of a moment as Brian Johnson to Christopher Norris. They're taking off as they're stacked 4 wide going down the back straightaway.
Oh my God, Larry's going to look there on the low side. There's still 3 wide. You got Brendan Colley now trying to go on the outside. You got Zach Hall going up into the wall. Oh my God, what happened to the 42, Sam?
The 04 going to be bouncing backwards, but that is Zach Hall got pushed so far to the outside lane. He lost all grip and all positioning. Looking at identicals. Oh no! Eric Krolick, major wreck for the 01.
Wow, and he just missed Zach Hall. Wow. Whoa.
That was a big one for the 01. It was so massive. He canceled out and left the server immediately after slamming the wall.
I thought Zach Hall was going to be involved into that one, Sam. Oh, my goodness. We'll see if we can get the replay on that one.
It's the 01. Old tires again for Aaron Krolick. He was getting it very much out of control. Thomas Walter, another one of those drivers. But here's what happened on the entry. The 01 and the 7, very close to one another. Looked like a little bit of contact. So at this point, Eric Kralik is trying to save his vehicle from going out of control. Continuing, he felt like it was stable here, backing off. But once he gets into the throttle, it steps out on himself. Then having Ryan Bird right on the back bumper, snaps loose, goes straight up the outside wall, smashes the wall, and there's Zach Hall just scaving by.
Zach Hall probably just got brown.
With Justin Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, them guys probably just got, some brownie pants is how I guess I want to say it.
They wore their brown suits today. That is
right.
for sure.
I mean, the past 3 weeks now here with Zach, he got pushed up into the wall a little bit outside, like you said. What's going on with this 42, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, I feel bad for the guy. Like, it's just not working out, Sam.
No, I mean, Zach, once again, a second week in a row, late restart where he gets stuck to the outside, loses all the positions that he had, and now he's trapped back in 9th place on a restart where we're losing the laps. Each lap that ticks away is potential position Zach Hall could be gaining back for himself. And the one driver, I got to say that this is the biggest W and a win already. Brandon Colley is up to 4th place for the 1. He was mired back in practically 9th, 10th position on that last restart.
That's what I mean. He worked his way, 3 positions, cars that stayed out. We knew they were going to get freight trained. That's a given. We all knew that, ladies and gentlemen. But, yeah, I mean, give bravos. And look who's running up here in 2nd, Christopher Norris. Tom Simchek's having a great run. You got Brandon Colley, and you got Larry here in 5th position that needs to try to figure out, had the fastest car all night, until here the second half of tonight's event. Man, I don't know. With 8 laps to go, 7 laps to go when we go back green, it'll be, what, 6 laps to go? Somewhere around there? Man, I don't know, Sam. This is... hang on, ladies and gentlemen.
Take a deep breath, and hopefully the driver you're rooting for gets a good restart. This is going to be crucial. As drivers that are still in the old tires, again, they don't have any reason to come into pit roads. Corey Ennis is going to be staying out. He's going to be in 6th place, as well as Thomas Walter going to be staying out. He's back in 11th. So that means those drivers mired in the middle of the field. We could potentially have another yellow flag come out. And if we do get another yellow, Robert, this is going to send us into overtime where the drivers are going to have 3 attempts if needed. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we find ourselves heading to overtime with the aggression level that's about to ramp up to another level here on this next restart.
Oh, like Brian Johnson will like to say, the pot's ready to boil over. And yeah, like you said, Sam, it's go time, and these guys got to figure it out, what they want to do, how aggressive do you want to be, figuring out the points, because the last thing you want to do, though, Sam, is you made it this far into the race, you're up here running, yeah, a win's great, but, leaving here at Iowa, gaining points on, Larry and Zach, because they are behind you, you gain a little bit, might not be much, but gaining is gaining. Do you risk, what's your risk level? How far do you go is, I guess, what I'm trying to, say or ask.
Yeah, I mean, and also, I think we can say, I hate to throw it out there, but we have not seen our Christopher Norris moment of the race yet, where he gets kind of a little bit overzealous at times and gets into one of these drivers up front. And for Christopher Norris, he's in a spot where he hasn't been in almost all season, and now he gets to be up front.
Yeah.
What aggression level is he thinking? Is he thinking about, hey, I'm going for a win, and will he influence this race? Because he's in the fight as well for the championship. He's tied 6th in points. He needs a massive day, and if he takes out some of the other competition, those are points that could get him back into a hunt for a championship for these last 2 races. I know he doesn't want to do it in a dirty way, but if you move somebody and they lose control of their vehicle, hey, there's a chance, Norris, you can put yourself back in the mix. Then you got Brandon Colley, who's 3rd in points coming in tonight. That one, if he can win here tonight, that keeps him in the fight. Tom Sinchek as well in a similar situation. So many different storylines, and it's all coming down to this. 5 laps to go into the restart zone. The Iowa Shenanigans 150 is back underway, and it's the outside line with a better launch. Colley side by side for 2nd place as Brian Johnson is trying to pull away.
Brian Johnson trying to pull away. The question is how aggressive does Christopher Norris be? We've seen him on 2 laps, going down into 1 there, getting loose and almost wrecking that car twice, Sam. How aggressive, do you be? Because he knows you can only push that car so far. As Colley's going to look on the outside, Christopher Norris is going to fall in 3rd position, and here comes Colley. He's going to try to run down Brian Johnson here for the lead with 4 laps to go.
Colley had probably one of his worst qualifying appearances of the season, qualified in 16th position, has been slowly marching his way forward, but he moves a little bit high, trying to get a better run, allows Christopher Norris to go to the inside lane. Tom Sinchek getting into the fray, and the one championship driver that we're not seeing is Zach Hall, as he's mired back in 11th position. He's been trapped in a wall. But the 1 and the 38, gotta be careful as Christopher Norris once again gets wiggling loose, and they're wrecking behind for that at 13th position. It's Justin Lewis once again.
Man, what a battle up front here as Justin Lewis unfortunately brings out the 10th yellow of tonight. And like you said, Sam, we're going green, white, checkered here, 3 attempts.
We are officially in overtime now, ladies and gentlemen, as that wreck of Justin Lewis. We're going to take a look at this. It was not his initial wreck that got him in trouble. The big one we got to watch out for is the bump there into Mark Morales' back bumper. Gets the 91 loose, overcorrects, comes back into the 07. So both drivers ran into one another.
And that threw
major
a yellow?
contact for that of Justin Lewis. And yeah, because he was stopped with the fact that he came to a complete halt, that was why a caution flag was thrown.
Gotcha. I was going to say, if he would have kept going, there would have been no yellow. But unfortunately, 10th yellow of tonight's event here at Iowa, Sam. Man, now what do we do?
Well, we've got ourselves 1 attempt at we got ourselves going to be our first attempt on overtime. We have 3 if needed. So welcome to overtime racing here on the WSSR Roast Gems Cup Series action at Iowa. The rulings is green, white, checkered. So we got 2 laps to get this race done. If we get to the white flag with 1 lap to go, we'll race this one to the end. That will become our official race. But on this first attempt, if we get a caution flag on that first lap, we will go into our second attempt. If the similar thing happens on that second attempt where a yellow flag comes out on the first lap, we'll go into our third attempt. Third attempt, slightly different, so we'll talk about that ruling if we get there. But Robert, this could be our last restart of the night. And our top 4, interesting on how they're stacked up. Brian Johnson once again is going to have control of this restart. The question is, who does he want to help? That of the top side of Tom Sinchek, or the inside lane, the inside lane with Tom Sinchek, or the outside lane with Christopher Norris?
Probably saying he doesn't want to help nobody. But yeah, I mean,
I want to be there too.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be in the back going, I don't want to help nobody, but unfortunately, you got to pick the top and bottom and one of them. So, I really don't know. I don't know.
I would imagine probably the outside lane is going to be his decision
That's
here.
what
He
I'm
did the
thinking.
last couple of restarts, and I think they're going to stick with the one that gives you the best run off the exit of the corner. So,
Yeah.
do we have reports of drivers further back in the field? Justin Lewis, Aaron Krolick have called it a night on top of Kyle Rochelle, Chad Wilkes, James Vining, and Bob Skinner. They've all called it a night as well. If, though, we find ourselves using all 3 attempts at overtime, crazy to say this, Robert, there's a chance that Cedric Hunter could come away with a top 15 finish after him having to come to a stop because of VR issues. The 13, he's still out there on track. Yes, he was even involved with the wreck that brought out our most recent yellow. And it could be putting the 13 into a chance to go for a top 15 finish.
Ain't that something? I said at the beginning, you're going to have your good days and you're going to have your bad days, right? And when you have your bad days, you don't just up and quit and leave. You just power around and you do what you can, and you'd be surprised. We've seen it on what night was it? Tuesday night?
Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, Case Beer was 30-some laps down and still wound up coming out of that race with a 15th place finish or something like that.
Yeah, that was Kyle Carpenter that came away.
That's who it was.
He was 33 laps down, stayed out on track. He missed the start of the race and was able to finish in that of 13th position after missing basically the whole entire first 30 laps of the race.
Yep.
Showed up. So many wrecks happened at Atlanta that allowed the fact that he was able to stay in race, which, if you want to watch more playoff racing, Tuesday night is your other destination, as all of our other series have concluded, and they'll be back later on in the middle of summertime. But their next race for Tuesday night going to be at Martinsville for their cutoff race to see who is running for a championship at Phoenix. I mean, that is certainly going to be a good one, Robert, on top of watching this race here tonight.
Oh, most definitely. Phoenix is one of them tracks with the trucks. It's going to be very interesting. Now, I don't know what Phoenix is. If it's a new one, I would imagine. Or is
it is.
It's a new one? Okay, well, whew, that's going to be a very interesting race to watch. But we got to finish out here tonight, Sam, as we're going to come out of turn number 4 here. 3 laps go. First attempt at green. Well, oh, sorry, I got all excited. Man, I got all excited. I was ready to go, and we're in the back. We're in the back. Oh, jeez.
Oh, Robert's getting jittery. That means it's going to be
ready.
a good one. It's going to be a good start. If you haven't shared the stream already, this might be your last time to do it. What potentially could be the final restart of the night. Ryan P. Johnson, Brandon Colley, as well as Christopher Norris, Tom Sinchek, Ryan Bird, ready, stacked up for this first attempt at overtime. It's the Iowa Shenanigans 150. Plenty of cautions throughout the night, but it's down to this crucial moment. Restart is in. Top line gets rolling. Colley keeping it side by side with Christopher Norris down into turn number 1, but it's Tom Sinchek thinking about forcing it 3 wide.
Oh.
He'll back out. Colley goes with the apron, using up Norris as Johnson continues to pull away. The one unstable and wrecked, spun out right in front of lane apex and into the field.
God.
Caution flag yet to come out, and now it does. We're going to overtime attempt number 2, and Colley's race is done.
Yeah, he hit the apron. He got loose. That vehicle was being evil, and unfortunately, we have a big wreck.
That's Ryan Bird. Bird is done. His car is completely broken.
Let's see what we can
49
get here.
takes a tow to pit road. Colley is still able to run, but there might be some wheel damage for himself. It's just a bad bump. I mean, it all started on the entry of the corner, but a bad bump comes up, thinks that he's clear on the 8, not clear, and then right into Ryan Bird on the outside. Bird was having such a great night, but that's thrown away as that breaks the toe length for the 49 on both sides, so he loses steering. Then the one, once again, loses the rear end right in front of the 7 and sends him to the outside wall. No required damage for the 1, but so much damage that he's not going to be able to truly recover from this. And Robert, just like that, crazy how this incident has spun around, has gotten the 1 in this massive wreck and situation where we're going to our second attempt at overtime. And now he's going to have to take tires to hope to equalize all this damage he's dealing with.
Right? I mean, he's just going to have to fix the damage and get the tires and go out there and just, finish out tonight's event here. It's unfortunately, but that all started with him hitting the apron, Sam, like you said. He got loose. It upsetted the car. He came out of turn 2 down the backstretch. The car was swaying left and right a little bit, and then, like you said, he thought he was clear, and unfortunately he wasn't, and then the chaos just happened. But again, Zach Hall made it by it, Sam. He almost was involved into it. I don't know what to say about this guy anymore. Zach, you either, I don't know, man. You got bad luck, you got good luck. You just let us figure it out for you if you need be. But either have good luck or bad luck, right, Sam? I mean, you can't have the middle. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
I mean, what also makes it even crazier is Corey Ennis, who has struggled so much in the first 3 quarters of this race. He's in 5th place right now with 44 lap old tires. Thomas Walters up to 8th with 44 lap old tires. The drivers that have yet to pit and cannot pit because they don't have any more fresh rubber to work with, they find themselves still in the mix because of how much carnage has been piling up with these last 3 wrecks.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. Well, now this next restart here, we're going to have Larry on the outside of Thomas here. How hard and crucial do they do? Because right now, Christopher Norris is not getting the run off the bottom line. As, Brian Johnson has the pace of going. So I don't know how this is all going to play. I think we're going to see carnage again. Something just tells me, Sam, that there's going to be something going on here.
That is a very good observation on your point to think that we're going to have another wreck. I like that call because the fact of how much the inside lane has been having that struggling moment. And for Christopher Norris, most likely, again, going to be starting on the inside, like you said. With Larry on the outer groove, that means he should be the driver that can keep himself side by side with at least Norris and maybe even keep himself side by side with Tom Sinchek. The question for me, though, is for Brian Johnson, is there really anyone to worry about on these restarts? It seems to be if that other driver can't get to the outside, at least on that first lap, to keep it close.
Yeah.
That last lap, if you're not right on their back bumper, at least on the quarter panel on the outside through going through that last lap, you don't have a chance to pass the leader. So this is going to be very crucial on most likely third place or second place. How do you keep yourself close to the leader so that you don't lose touch and you still have an opportunity? Otherwise, Brian could just move before the lights click off. And Robert, here we go for another try at overtime.
Yep, and I agree with everything you just said there, Sam. And now it's going to come down to Christopher Norris has got to get the start of his life here. He has to stay with that 28. That will be crucial that, for him to maybe have a chance to pass. But like you said, you're going to have these guys back here. You got Tom, you got Larry that are fast. When does it come down to, do you use the bumper at all? You got Zach Hall now working his way back up through the field. We might see some, hit and run for a win here tonight.
There is a lot of chances to see that. But Brian taking the inside lane, going to be forcing Norris to the outside. This is most likely going to be a way to hold back the 67 of Larry Yingling. Tire strategies haven't worked out for the 67 just yet, but here we go. Our second attempt at overtime. It's going to be seeing Brian Johnson, great launch for himself. Tom Sinchek, as well as the 8, being pushed into the first corner. Side by side, Larry Yingling going to get a bad push into that of the corner number 1. Off the exit, it's all Brian P. Johnson, Christopher Norris, Tom Sinchek, keeping it close. Norris stays low. Sinchek goes the outside lane. Back behind, drivers are keeping it dicey for 3 wide. But up front, it's Brian Johnson, Christopher Norris, Tom Sinchek. They are not close enough to battle the 28. It's all the battling for second and others. Norris, though, gets a pretty decent run out of turn number 2. Trying to close in on the gap, but it gets loose. Johnson trying to hold steady. Norris trying to get to the back bumper. Not able to. Brian P. Johnson, the most winning driver here, is going to get another win for the 28 and closing the gap more as Norris holds on for second.
Wow. You see Norris. Wow. Congratulations to Brian Johnson, but I have to go back and say something there, Sam. Christopher Norris pushed Tom Sinchek up into the wall and said, "Oh, no, you don't, not today." And didn't wreck him, did it pretty clean, but he got second position. Wow, what a run.
And over the radio, Tom Sinchek is
not happy.
He is very upset at Christopher Norris on that move. I mean, it's a legal move to make. You didn't officially wreck the guy. You keep in the position. Norris is racing to try to close in on the gap for the championship. I get the fact that Tom Sinchek, he's in the middle of it, but very much anger is out. But the driver that's not angry, he's happy. It's Brian P. Johnson, who's going to get a lot of points closing on the gap. Man, I cannot wait to see what the updated points are going to be because, Robert, it could be still 1 to 2 points difference between first and second in points. We'll have to wait and see. But when we come back, we'll talk to our top 3 as well as a spotlight driver to get their thoughts on tonight's run. We'll see you right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the post-race show of the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series for the Season 6 playoffs. This was race number 3 of 5, and the fireworks certainly were flying under the lights. The driver that got the victory, though, is the 28 of Brian P. Johnson getting it done. Let's talk to Brian in victory lane. Brian, what a run for yourself in this 28 machine. It seemed like this was the Larry show for most of the first half of this race until drivers made their pit stops. But man, once you got the lead, it looked like you were never looking back. How are you feeling after this one?
Oh, I was always looking back. I was worried the whole race. I hate Iowa. I dislike it very much. Something's buried at the bottom in the middle of 1 and 2, and it's in the way, that giant bump. I've never liked Iowa. I've never really been any good at it, but tonight it just kind of worked out. Um, I knew there was going to be a lot of cautions with the way the car was handling. It was pretty much loose everywhere, which was is kind of unusual for these cars, but I'll take the change of pace there. But with as many cautions as I knew we were going to have, and I was anticipating a lot of cautions near the end, I was like, it might not hurt to have an extra set of tires compared to all these other guys at the end. So I think me and Zach and maybe somebody else stayed out, saved a set of tires, and it worked out. Um, I think we may have used that extra set a little bit too early, but again, it kind of worked out to where, the people that I needed to lose track position lost it and I got back to the front. So that was good. And with what, like 40, 35 to go, something like that, I had a second lead on everybody else and I was feeling pretty good for that run. For the first time the whole race, I felt like I was actually taking care of my stuff and not burning up the right rear. But then unfortunately got that caution from a car that's 23 laps down. But didn't affect the outcome. Had to go through a lot of green white checkers that I hate. Because there's so many opportunities to make mistakes and throw it away. But luckily tonight didn't make any mistakes and is really really good for the championship standings. This race was really really good for points.
It certainly was. Looking at the point standings now as they've just been updated, you have now moved up to second in points, just 3 points off of Larry Yangling. So it really gets a small gain on that 67. You got 2 more races left in the season. Go into that of the Atlanta 2008 configuration as well as Homestead. How are you feeling mentally knowing that those are the 2 tracks that we're heading towards and you're so close to beating out Larry?
Well, going into these playoffs, this chase, being 8 points out to begin with, I knew that didn't have to do anything crazy, just have to be consistent and close that gap up. And so, last week, um, or the first race, went in 8 points behind and came out 8 points behind, and then went in 8 points behind the next race and came out 6 points behind, and now we've cut it down to three. So if I can keep that up, then I guess at this rate I'll be 2 points ahead or something. I don't know, but just got to stay consistent. Atlanta and Homestead. Feeling pretty good about Atlanta. That's always been a good track for me, but that's also been a pretty good track for Larry and Zach as well. So next week we'll see how that happens, and then Homestead. Uh, Pretty much everybody in the top 5, top 6 in points is good there. And, you know, kind of depending on the weather, depending how the car is going to behave in 2 weeks, it could be good for me or it could be bad. But, that's what practice is for. So, feeling good, but, still got 2 races and got 3 points to get.
Well, Brian, we cannot wait to see how these next 2 races handle for you. But tonight, you get the win, and now the floor is yours for any shoutouts.
But definitely got to shout out you guys for putting on such a great show as always, and everybody that tuned in. Definitely give them a shout out. Hope it was a good show. I think it was. But and then all the league drivers that came out here tonight, couldn't do any of this without them, and the admin team as well. And then Roasted Gems Coffee and Trophy Smack especially. Got the Trophy Smack Toyota Camry back at victory lane. It's always a good thing. So that's good. And then to all of our first responders and our troops out there, give a shout out to them as well. Memorial Day coming up. Hopefully I can give them another shout out next week.
We can't wait for it. Well, again, congratulations, Brian, on the win, and good luck next week at Atlanta.
Thank you, sir.
Well, as we go from that victory lane, let's head down to second place, a driver that had to make some bold moves, and certainly it was bold at the end. We got the 38 of Christopher Norris with us. Chris, you come away with second place, a little controversial from some points of view, aggressive from others, but man, how are you feeling after coming away with the second place finish?
It's pretty great. I mean, Iowa is not one of the tracks I look forward to. I mean, it is a short track, and I tend to do well in the Cup cars at them, but it's a tricky track, kind of like Bristol and a little bit of Martinsville if you were to put them together and mix them. Definitely interesting. Tires were not great, but overall, got a pretty good run to the end of the race, and those tires held on.
Well, it seems to be you're on a pretty solid run for yourself. Got fifth place last week, then you get second this week. What's your thoughts heading into these final two races at Atlanta and Homestead?
Atlanta, I believe it's Legacy Atlanta, so it's not going to be completely terrible. Homestead isn't too bad. I haven't ran there in a few months though, unfortunately. So, I don't know how that's going to react. It's going to be an interesting race, just to see how that's going to end up doing.
Well, Norris, congratulations once again for second position here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Yep. First off, I do want to say sorry to Tom Sinchet. Just hard racing for second place, a guy who is high in the points for once, trying to go forward. I don't believe it was dirty, but to each their own. But of course, car sponsors, Lids. Of course, it's sponsored on each car. Of course, great stuff at customlids.com. You guys for the great show, the league admins for all that they do, and my family for putting up with me yelling and screaming, and also the sponsor of this league, Trophy Smack and Roasted Gems.
Well, that's going to be the 38 machine of Christopher Norris. Comes away second here at Iowa. Congratulations and good luck at Atlanta next week.
Thank you.
Let's go from second place. Norris obviously not feeling like it was too dirty, but a driver that might have other thoughts on it. We got Tom Sinchek with us. Tom, you come away third here tonight. Still a solid run for yourself, but man, how are you feeling after this one?
Yeah, third's good. I'm happy with third. Obviously, I would like to head second. Well, obviously, I would have liked to win, but Brian was on rails. He really managed his stuff there at the end. I knew that he kind of figured something out when I was behind him halfway through the race, and after I got into contact with somebody, he got ahead of me and took off. So I knew he kind of figured something out. So it would have taken something on the restart to pass him and hold him there on the end there. But no, he was just too fast. He was too good on those restarts. But yeah, third is fine. I just hope I'm not overreacting. It's kind of, I don't know. I just wish that didn't happen and we could have raced to it because it would have been close. But yeah, I'll take a 3.
Well, you're still in the hunt for the championship. You still are only just 7 points off of Larry Yingling and able to at least close a little bit on that driver. How are you feeling, though, overall, with the fact that we got 2 more races left and it seems like it's still completely wide open for at least the top 5 drivers are in points?
Well, the way these guys drive, 7 points is a lot if he's still in the lead, which I think he probably will be because I think he led the most laps. So 7 points with Larry and a few other guys in front of me is a lot because they're pretty consistent. Everybody knows who I'm talking about. These guys up here that run super quick and just don't mess up ever. It's tough. 7 points is an eternity, so I'm going to need something big to happen.
Well, Tom, before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah. Just congrats to Brian. That was great. I learned a lot from him. Shout out to everybody for a race that I thought was actually going to have a lot more yellows. I know we had a lot, but it was pretty loose midway through some runs, and it got it tightened up. So I like that we did get some green flag runs in there for a while. And shout out to Late Apex. Shout out to you guys. Yeah, it was fun actually. It did better than I thought.
Well, congratulations, Tom, on a third place finish, and good luck in these final 2 races of the season.
Thank you, sir.
Well, from third place, let's go to our spotlight driver, where we're going to fall all the way down to 8th position, but a driver that certainly had a wild roller coaster of an evening. Corey, it's Sam up in the booth. You got me? Well, let's see if we can chime in. Coriolis. Corey, it's Sam. You got us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We got you now. Corey, you certainly had a wild beginning to this race. Seemed like it was a struggle to get a handle of this vehicle, but you come away still with an 8th place finish. Yes, Corey, we got you. I don't know if Corey can hear us at this moment. But Corey, it doesn't seem like we're having some technical issues potentially here, as we will sadly we were getting Corey, but feedback just wasn't working on his end or our end. But the 7 machine, like we were going to ask him, I mean, he had up and down type of an evening where he was struggling at the beginning just to get a handle of the vehicle. But once we used that last set, all the knowledge throughout this race, allowing the 7 machine, even on old tires, to actually be the best runner of everyone on those older tires to come away 8th. So congratulations on Corey on a top 10 finish with a night that could have gotten a lot worse. And overall, congratulations. Well, from our interviews, let's go head over to our unofficial results for tonight's race, as it was the Iowa Shenanigans 150 this evening. We came into the night with 6 drivers, really in a good hunt and a chance. 5 drivers, with a hunt to go for the championship. They were all within 6 points. Well, it's grown just slightly, as this is where the drivers will finish out this evening. Brian Johnson in first, with that of Christopher Norris second. Third is Tom Sinchek, Larry Yingling fourth. Fifth is Jonathan Coxwell with Zach Hall in sixth. Seventh, Brandon Colley, what a recovery run for the 1 after being involved with that massive wreck between himself and the Lady Apex Machines. Corey Ennis, we wanted to talk to, going to come away 8th. 9th is going to be Thomas Walter. And 10th is James Kaufman, which Kaufman at one moment was 4 laps down and still comes away with the top 10 run. So congratulations to the 25 on his mental fortitude to stay in it. But now the points. 5 drivers, all within 6 points of one another, will now make it 5 drivers. It's now a 10-point buffer, with Larry Yingling still leading the way. But now it's Brian Johnson in second. 3 points over Brian Johnson is Larry. 5 points is Zach Hall being away from Larry. Then Tom Sinchek's off by 7 points. And Brandon Colley going to be 10 points off. So 10 drivers still in the mix. I gotta say that, Robert, this fight is still there with 2 races left to go.
You're gonna have to tune in, ladies and gentlemen, for the last 2 races, because last week we had Zach Hall leading in the points there, Sam, and Larry got the win, jumps him to the lead. Now Brian Johnson is now up there, 3 points out. I mean, this is like the whole playoff standings is just shuffling so much after each race. It's going to come down to Homestead. I just see it. It's you're not going to have a clear picture until after Homestead.
Yeah, and the reason why we say, hey, it's still a fight, even with Brandon Colley being 10 points off, because back after Kentucky, it was Larry Yingling that was 10 points off from Zach Hall and was able to close in and even take over the lead position in points just a week later. So it is still very close. A good week could put you right in the middle of the fight of taking the championship. So the fight's still there. And also for us, what's still here is another league besides the WSSR that's racing. We touched on it a little bit at the end of this race, but Tuesday night, it is the cutoff race of the round of 8 for the Full Send Racing Series. They head to Martinsville. Who will make the Final 4 and join Zach Hall, who is trying to become a driver that can win 2 championships in 2 leagues? Can he get it done? We'll have to wait and see Tuesday night. And then we're right back here next Saturday. The drivers get ready for Atlanta Motor Speedway, the 2008 configuration, slipping and sliding, and drivers dealing with the heat. Can't wait for it. It's going to be a good one. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you so much for being with us here this evening on your Saturday night. Can't wait for our next broadcast. It's going to be Tuesday, Full Send Racing Series. We'll see you then on our next Freaky Fast broadcast.